and welcome to That Is Nice. Our next guest we brought in here on a forklift. His sweet tartan-ass name is Sweet Tartan-ass. Thanks for coming on, Mason. So let's see. Out of all of the information in the world, say the smartest person in the world knows everything. 100% of the information. What percent do you think you know about everything there is to know about the world and the universe?
A fraction of 1%.
A fraction of 1%?
Yeah.
So, why are you so rude when people don't agree with you?
I'm not. You're just soft.
Soft? That's fine. All right, fine. Okay, so time travel. If you could time travel to any period in time, it could even be the future, it could be any time in the past, what time would you go to?
1776.
Why is that?
So I can sign the Declaration.
The Declaration of Independence. If you don't remember Mason, he's from our paramedic episode and from the episode number 8, where it's the worst podcast episode ever. So don't get your hopes up. All right, well, I guess anything you want to ask me?
No?
All right, fine. All right, so you're joining the Army?
Hopefully.
So how much? What is the weight that you have to lose?
Why do you fucking...
You can talk about that.
I know, but I don't want to.
Don't want to talk about your weight?
No. No, the Army.
Okay. So what do you think is wrong with kids today?
They're a bunch of fucking bastards. I don't know. Can't stand them.
Because do you think it's the what they do for fun? Because when we were growing up, I've known Mason for like 10 years?
Longer than that.
Longer than 10 years.
It's been a lot longer than 10 years.
And when we were young, we would play with things that were dangerous. Like we would go into the woods and play with chainsaws, and we would cut down trees for fun. Paintball. I mean, and if we had something that was relatively safe, we would find a way to make it not safe. For example, we had sparklers, a bunch of them, and just lighting them off one by one wouldn't have been fun enough. So what we would do is we scraped off all of the black powder and all that.
It's definitely not black.
What is it?
I don't know. I don't think it's black. I don't know.
You only know a fraction of 1%. So how would you know that?
Okay.
So... So we would just go and scrape them all off and then tape it all together, all the powder, and light that. Do you think it's because kids just don't play dangerous anymore? Do you think that's something that's wrong with them? They're just so soft because they don't want to do dangerous things. They don't want to go and ride their bike with no handlebars. They don't want to go and chop down trees. They don't want to go and start fires.
No, I don't think it has anything to do with it.
Do you think the way kids play now is not good for them? Because the way you and I play now, or the way that you and I when we have played the way we used to play, it would be something that had a danger factor to it. And what is the good in that? Well, one, it's more fun. Two, you learn more. You learn, okay, I don't want to do this. And 3, you're basically doing scientific method experiments, because if you want to light something, say you want to light something on fire. You go, okay, well, I don't want to put this much gas because when I poured a lot of gas on last time, the fire was big and I burned my eyebrows off or something, So you're kind of doing research as you're playing. But now it's like they'll go play like Pokemon Go. They'll go on social media for fun. So do you think it's good to play the way that we used to, or is it better the way kids play now?
I really don't think that has anything to do with the way kids are playing. I think just everything to do with them being entitled little fucks.
Okay.
Like, that's really all it is.
What do you think made them that way?
Parenting.
Parenting? Like, what parenting style is different?
Baby and your kid.
Like, an example would be what? Like, compare then and now.
Back when we were younger and we'd go to your house, your mom would not baby us the way that fucking, like, if we did something stupid and we, yes, our mom. If we were in the woods, you know, chopping down trees and making bonfires and one of us came back because we got burned, she wouldn't be like, oh, honey. She'd be like, you guys are dumbasses. And now it's, you know, your kid fucks up in school, comes home, it's the teacher's fault. Not, I'd come home from school with a referral. My mom wouldn't blame the teacher. She'd blame me, and then I'd be in a whole lot of trouble.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
So it's, you know.
And you came home with referrals often.
Every day. Yes.
Like, if you... I guess if those were, like, referrals for jobs, you'd be doing pretty well. Yeah. But they're not. But, okay. So, babying kids is bad. Right? Babying kids is bad. What could be done differently? Just being angry when they mess up and placing, like, teaching them how to take responsibility for something.
Yeah, just make them be responsible for the dumb actions they do. Your kid fucks up in school, it's his own fault. Yeah. Your kid runs from the police and gets his ass beat, it's his own fault. Okay. You know, you do drugs, you get caught, it's not the fucking drug dealer's fault, it's your fault. Like, I don't think mom's like, who, you know what, I'm calling your drug dealer. No, I'm just saying, like, it's I'm blowing him in. It's another real world example. Like, you know, if I walk out of your house and do something stupid and I get stopped by a police officer, my mom can't fucking call and be like, oh, it wasn't Mason's fault. Yeah. It was Jake's fault. Because guess what? It doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, it would be if it was like today, we grew up today, it would be my fault because I let you leave. But back, you understand? Like, today it would be my fault if you went out and did something dumb because I let you leave the house. Back then it would be your fault because you left the house. Which makes more sense. But, so from that stems entitlement, I guess. But what about just the way they do things for fun? You know, because like I'm saying, like, when we were young, we would want to go and, like, make things. We would make, like, whether it be like a furnace, whether it be like something for skating, like some sort of like a rail.
Well, when you say furnace, you implied that we were like building like a furnace for a house. You're meaning like furnace to like melt metal that we found and stuff like that. I know,
that. Yeah, okay. But still, yeah, like the furnace to melt metal and stuff. But stuff, I mean, because we went and tried to figure out how to do that, now we know. Mm-hmm. Like, now we can, like, explain how it works. But now
how it didn't work,
and then how it didn't work. Yeah. When you raise your kids, what are you gonna do? You don't have kids, but if you ever have kids, if you ever find a partner who would mate with you, which, good luck. You sweet tart ass.
Would you stop calling me that? I don't know. I'll fucking figure that out when I get there.
You're against child abuse?
It's not what
Are you?
Yeah.
I want to gauge how strict you're gonna be.
I mean, yeah, you can't beat the shit out of your kids.
Beat the shit implying, like, there's a limit?
No. You just said child abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can abuse your kid.
Because there's beating your kid. There's really beating your kid. And then there's beating the shit out of your kid. Is that what you're trying? I'm just wondering. No. I'm trying to gauge.
I'm just beating in general. You probably shouldn't beat your kids.
Okay, I agree.
You can't beat your wife. I mean, you can't beat your kids. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's all in the same category of beating.
Why can't you?
It's against the law.
I'm just kidding. Yeah,
probably morally and ethically frowned upon.
Yeah, and Mason is a man of outstanding moral and ethics.
No. I think I'm a pretty good person.
You're all right. Pretty good, sweet tart ass. Yeah. So, what is your fondest childhood memory then?
Probably of us doing something stupid.
Like?
I suppose it was always walking through the graveyard that one couple nights, the one that was down the road from your house, when all of us were over at your house, yeah. Or having bonfires in the back, trying to build tree swings. Which never ended up going well.
The tree swing went fine.
At first. Pretty sure it snapped.
No, someone cut it, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Remember? Because we were in...
Yeah. We went back in the woods that one day. And
we went back in the woods, and we were just, like, walking around, and it was fine. And it was winter time, and then I left. I had a doctor's appointment. We met back, and then we went back into the woods, and then it was just destroyed. We made, like, a tiki bar. We made this giant, like, log swing. It was, like, this nice... We called it the chill spot. And now it was just gone, like, within an hour.
Yeah, I remember that, actually. I don't know. Probably just stuff like that.
Yeah. So
skating, getting rides home in your friend's mom's car's trunk.
Oh, yeah. And then Ronnie getting rides home in the trunk and popping out and wanting to kill you. I think like, I hate when you see kids and they just are, like, playing on, like, a tablet and they're not going out and, like, learning how to do something. I mean, even if you're not doing it well, you're still trying to learn how to do something that's beneficial. You know, like those, like, Subway Surfers, the game and stuff is not going to teach you anything. But if you...
I play video games too.
Dude, we probably have...
Don't pretend like we didn't spend
we did.
Hundreds of hours playing Minecraft.
We did, but we also did other stuff. Like, we're really good at swinging hammers. We're really good at swinging hammers because we built things. That was supposed to be like a metaphor, but it doesn't sound like a good metaphor.
No, it didn't at all. It sounded really bad, actually.
We used to swing our hammers around days on end. Okay, so branching off that, I guess. What is the best invention ever? The best invention thing ever invented. You know, an invention, something that someone creates.
I understand the question.
Then why did you look like you didn't?
Because it's a really hard question.
Well, let's see. You could say the wheel. You could say fire. You could say the internet. You could say guns. You could say anything that's been made. There's lots of answers to that.
Exactly. That's why it's a hard question.
Yeah.
God.
So what?
What's your favorite invention?
No, not favorite. The best.
Oh.
Yeah, the best one.
Oh, like the one that, like,
changed everything.
Changed the most? I mean... Wow, this is a hard one, Jake. I'm gonna go with the sword.
I didn't expect that. Why the sword?
I don't know. The sword has won many wars, which sparked the invention or the idea to create better weapons to fight wars more effectively, which led to the gun, which led to the freedom of the United States.
So do you think wars are a good thing? Like, they have a good outcome?
I mean, yes.
Usually.
I'm not
Always.
saying war is good, but I'm saying, like, war can have good outcomes. I mean, we are who we are because of war. But, you know.
Yeah. Okay. So not the internet.
No, it's fucking...
You think that did more harm than good?
The internet?
Yeah.
Probably not, but it's... Who gives a fuck?
Probably not what?
Probably not... What?
You said probably not.
Yeah, probably not more harm than good, but it's not really like a super life-altering thing. Like, it doesn't really change who I am. I barely use the internet, so I don't care.
You're on the internet constantly.
Yeah, doing dumb shit, like Snapchatting.
That counts.
Because that's really effective at doing anything productive.
Probably, though.
It's probably counterproductive to my day.
It's counterproductive. All of it really is counterproductive. I mean, the internet, it's like two sides of a sword. Because on one hand, you have, for the first time in history, unlimited access to all the knowledge and information the world has to offer. On the second hand, you have things that make you less productive, like Snapchat, like Facebook, like Instagram.
Okay.
So I guess it's a matter how you use it.
Yeah, but the internet's a relatively newer creation.
No way.
Shut the fuck up.
I thought Galileo made internet.
So we survived hundreds of thousands of years without it. So something that was created like 30 years ago probably isn't the most relevant creation.
I think it's pretty relevant today. I mean,
today. I mean, a lot of
Sears
depend on
and
it,
stuff are going out of business left and right. Toys R Us, why? Because you can just buy things on the internet. Like, name one thing you do throughout the day that you don't use it for.
Driving my motorcycle, working, waking up in the morning, brushing my teeth, surviving in general.
Okay, so, well, I don't know. I mean, I guess internet, by that, that's an umbrella term. Can we say like technology too? Like technology, like advanced, like computerized technology. Your motorcycle has that. Do you have a radio on your motorcycle?
Well, this current motorcycle does, but I've had plenty of motorcycles in the past that were literally just engines, gas tanks, and carburetors, and fucking there's no special anything on it. There's no computer.
No electronics at all.
There's kickstart motorcycles.
Okay.
You don't need them. Makes life easier. You don't need it.
Yeah.
First plane did not have a computer in it.
Does it make it easier? I mean, technology is supposed to make your life easier.
For me to get on my 2018 Harley, sit on it, turn the dial to turn it on, and push a button to start it, it's pretty easy in comparison to my old one where
I thought you were saying like the Kickstarter ones made it easier.
No.
Okay.
No, technology makes things easier, but it's not necessary.
Yeah.
I mean, suppose you could kickstart a 2000cc motorcycle, but if it kicks back, it's going to break your knee. Just saying.
Can you fucking imagine?
You'd probably like kickstarting like 100cc like ATV, and it's like, oh, that hurt my ankle.
Oh,
a 2000cc fucking engine.
Your shin bone just pops through. You want to kick back?
Tossing it out there.
Oh, it'd be so funny.
It'd be really painful.
Yeah, but I guess you don't really realize how much you use it, because there are people who are like allergic to the waves that go through the air. Like, there's a place in Virginia where within a 10-mile radius they don't allow any cell towers, nothing with electricity, no electronics at all, because like
per se be allergic to radio.
They are. They have like these skin reactions to those microwaves and radio waves. They have skin reactions to them. So like a lot of those people live in this area. Like one of them I was reading about, she was like a psychologist, and she just couldn't take it anymore, so she moved to this area because it was so bad. Like she would sleep in her car and all these things. Like gigahertz actually hurt her skin.
Well, in today's world, there's nowhere that radio waves cannot touch you. Radio waves
in that area
will always be touching you everywhere throughout the planet.
No, not true. Well, I mean, do you mean like from like space hitting you, or just from man-made?
Well, yeah, there's waves coming from outer space. There's so much technology now. Cell phone towers, radio towers. You can pick up a radio wave from China clear across the globe. You know what I mean? So radio waves do reach everywhere.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's just like a certain frequency, but it wasn't just her. It was like quite a few people. Yeah. And they have this area because they have this telescope that only picks up on sound from space, so they can't have any interference. Like, it sees what's in space from sound.
Yeah.
So it picks that up. But where the fuck was I going with that? That sucks. That sucks. And this can't, it can't really be good for you to have all of these pumping throughout your body constantly.
No, it's most definitely not.
It really can't. And then, that's probably why everyone has cancer. That might have something to do with cancer.
Well, cancer also comes from the way you eat.
Yeah.
Everything else.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily like, for instance, everyone thinks like for the longest people thought putting your phone close to your body all the time was bad for you.
Probably
is minimal. Like,
yeah, but minimal every day for the rest of your life.
So was smoking cigarettes, which people have been doing for hundreds of years, and tobacco, and I shouldn't say cigarettes, but tobacco, drinking alcohol, both bad for you. My grandpa lived until he was 90-something, and he smoked Luckies every day, which were filterless cigarettes, and drank beer like it was...
He's a minority.
Like it was going out of style.
Well, then he's a minority.
Just saying.
He's a minority.
Just tossing it out there.
Well, yeah, fuck.
Yeah.
So...
Exactly. Drink beer and smoke tobacco.
Maybe that's the key.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's this weak generation.
They're weak. If you get cancer, you're weak.
Fight in a world war, smoke tobacco, and drink alcohol, and you'll live until you're 90-something.
Probably. It seems like those are the guys who always live forever. Oddly enough. I think it's just because from all the booze, they, like, pickle their bodies. Like, they're just pickled. Like, everything in them's pickled and just preserves forever.
Sure.
You know? All that liquor just makes your cells just not die. Somehow.
Yes, we'll go with that theory.
Makes it taste good.
You should be a doctor.
You think so?
No.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like, yeah, doctor, my liver is so bad and I'm having all these problems. Like, oh, it is? Have you tried drinking copious amounts of liquor? It's like, that's why it's like this. I go, well, maybe you should drink more. Maybe you're not at the pickle rate. The pickle rate sounds so homosexual. But, yeah, think about this, though. Technology, one, is replacing jobs. And, like, one of the jobs you wouldn't think it would replace is, because you're a paramedic, so you probably have some idea of this, something in the medical field. Robots are replacing surgeons. And if
to a certain extent.
What's the extent? It's quite a few.
Yes, there are robots that do surgical procedures, but there will never not be surgeons. There will never not be, drivers for cars. There will never not be someone standing behind the counter at McDonald's. There will always be the human. There's always going to be error with what robots do. There's always going to need to be a human there.
Right, but there's always you're right, but there's also a much larger margin of error for what humans do versus
surgical interventions with robots it's a very small, like you're not going to have a robot doing a full open heart surgery and doing bypasses by itself. You're going to use a robot to do like very minuscule, like, going in with a small incision and removing something. But you're not going to put someone on a table, bring a robot into the room and be like, all right, do a quad bypass. Because that's just not going to go well.
Yeah.
You're always going to need that human, effect to do things. Because a robot's going to be programmed to do it one way and one way only. It's not going to be able to think for itself.
Yeah.
Like, especially in the medical field, there's what the textbook says, but unfortunately the patient didn't read the textbook. So the robot's just going to know the textbook way. The robot's not going to be like, okay, well, halfway through this procedure, this happened. Well, the procedure calls for all these steps. I need to finish these steps, even though it's veering drastically off.
How sure are you about that, though? Because I'm pretty sure...
Well, in today's world, I'm sure in 200 years there will be artificial 100%. Intelligence. Yeah.
Because I'm sure way back when, they're like, yeah, you're never going to replace scribes. You're never going to replace scribes. We're always going to need scribes.
Scribe is actually still a job in the hospital.
A scribe, like someone who like copies, like monks who would just copy books.
No, if they follow you around the computer and they type everything down that you're saying.
Oh, okay, yeah, but I'm talking like people who are like
court and.
I know, but I'm saying like people are like, yeah, you're always gonna need someone else to just copy books by pen and ink. You don't really need that very much.
Quality literature, I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't think you're always gonna need a human to do what a robot does. I don't think you're gonna always need that.
Well, for instance, everyone wants the world, like, everyone thinks that someday there's going to be, the whole entire world's going to be taken over by flying cars and
flying cars aren't going to happen.
And green technology, everything's going to be green. Stupid. Everything's going to be electric. No one's going to use fossil fuels anymore. We're going to have people like me that in 80 years is still going to be zooming around in that 70 Chevelle Super Sport, paying however much for a gallon of gas because it's so outdated. You're always going to have those people that don't want that. Will always be like the Amish, for instance. I have a smartphone that I can do anything on. Like you said earlier, the knowledge is limitless on there. Yeah. I drive a brand new truck and a brand new motorcycle.
There's killing it.
There's on both of those vehicles, there's cruise control. I don't even need to apply pressure to the throttle to propel myself forward. There's a GPS that I literally look down and on a 6.5-inch display, it tells me how to get where I'm going in fine detail down to the foot. But yeah, there's people that don't want that, and they're like, yeah, I'll go everywhere on horse and buggy. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because like I said earlier, in 80 years, when technology is way surpassed what it's at now, I'll still want to be on that gas-powered engine.
Even the Amish, though, are using cell phones and driving cars.
Some of them, but there's still a lot of them that refuse to.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, they don't want to move, into the technology field that we're in now, and I'm probably not going to want to move into the new generation of vehicles. I refuse to drive an electric motorcycle, and that's what they're starting to go to.
Even if it was faster, went further,
can go as fast as the speed of sound, and I could go across the whole entire world on one battery charge, I would still not trade that for a gas engine motorcycle.
Is that because you like to pollute?
No, it has nothing to do with it. It's more the fact that it's just a traditional engine that's been around for however long. You're not going to get the same sound, the same reaction, the same rumble of the.
Okay, then why don't you use a brick phone? Because that's it's just a tradition, man. It's a brick phone. It just calls and that's all it can do. Why do you have to have one that's all fancy?
It's preference.
Okay, I'll give you that. But yeah, I would get a smart car. I mean, I wouldn't get a smart car, but I would get a Tesla.
Oh yeah, well, they're cool. I'll give you that. I would definitely get a Tesla. They're cool looking vehicles. I've looked into them a lot. I've seen them around. They're very sharp. But I'm just saying, I would not want to give up what has been around just to be like, oh well, it's eco.
In 80 years, you're gonna be the guy that everybody in the neighborhood hates. It's like, oh, there's that asshole
when I'm rolling through with the straight pipe Harley, and everyone else is like, oh god. So noisy. Well, I'll give you that.
Everything's going to be a library. You're going to drive past, but you're going to go,
shh. Yeah. Just whiskey throttle everywhere.
What are you going to do, though, if they don't even make gas no more?
I'll find a way.
You're going to find a way? You're going to make your own gas?
I don't give a shit.
Well, that's good.
Just don't worry. I have a smartphone with the internet. I'll figure it out.
Figure it out yourself. Good thing you got those hammer skills. Could build
with all the days of cutting down trees and building campsites and surviving in the woods on freaking hot dogs and charcoal, bag of charcoal.
Yeah, hot dogs and charcoal. Yeah, but I mean there are robots that do surgeries, complete surgeries.
Yes,
and the surgeons are there.
We've already established that.
No, I know, but I'm saying the surgeons are there only because it's more comforting.
And the robots can only go so far.
Huh?
Robots can only go so far.
That's not true because AI, what it does is it learns itself, it teaches itself. It forms its own algorithm on how to do things. It's a guess. It guesses things and it learns itself. For example, what you learn in 20 years. AI, if you just spent 20 years just researching something and doing it, AI could learn what you learned in 20 years in 6 months. And that's a long time. So why wouldn't it be able to do it better than a surgeon? They're not always going to be required.
We're just talking strictly on surgeries, but it's it's hard to explain. The textbook I'm not a surgeon, never going to be a surgeon, not a snowball's chance in hell. But the textbook says, during, removing a, benign tumor onto someone's side or whatever, to make an incision here, or they'd probably give you a range, but, make an incision, through all the layers of skin and fat and, muscle, everything else, isolate the tumor, cut off blood flow to this area, cauterize it, remove it, and start stitching things back together from this layer all the way out, doing whatever you have to do, cauterizing, suturing, dermabonding, whatever you need, work your way back out, surgery is complete.
Okay.
The robot knows that way. Go in, grab it, go out.
Oh, so you're saying
complete.
It's
There's
what
no
it knows.
error.
What it knows is limited. So if something goes wrong in that process,
something goes wrong
an
in
artery
that process.
bursts.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not gonna. That's not true. That's not true because they can calculate that and figure it out. You can program it to say, okay, if this thing doesn't go this way, figure it out. Like, Boston Dynamics, they make robots that learn, and they have this one. It looks like a dog and it walks, and it's made to go upstairs, open doors, and like walk through the doors. And they'll test it. And for example, what they'll do is the dog will supposed to open the door, and someone will push on it so they can't get it. And every time they get halfway through, they'll like slam the door shut so they can't get through. And they eventually learn how to like work their way through the door when someone's pushing on it. So they learn that way. So they can learn how to do that. And they learn fast. Like, think about it. How long does it take for a baby to walk?
Yeah.
A year? I don't know.
I don't think it's a year. I don't know.
A few months. That robot can learn how to walk in like a couple minutes. And they've actually done that. They've taught a robot how to walk. And then they cut off one of its legs. It had 4 legs. They cut off one of its legs, so now it couldn't walk right. And then, like that, it learned how to walk with just 3 legs. They could figure that out. They could figure that out. How to artery burst.
I don't know. I personally think that you're always going to need the human to be there supervising it because, it's going to have to learn what to. Okay, so like you're saying, it'll learn, what to do in said situation. Yeah. But
it'll already know what to do. Like if an artery bursts, it'll know what to do. It'll just have to, and it is able to locate it. Like for example, like cars that are autopilot, they have these radars that detect.
Well, I've watched plenty of videos on autopilot cars crashing because autopilot is not what people are thinking it's going to be. For instance, I watched a video of a car driving down the road in autopilot mode. It was a test site, obviously. Driving down the road, following another car, and there was a stationary object on the other side of the car, and the radar is keeping pace. Like, I forget what they call it. Like, it's sonar, pretty much, that it uses sonar to keep pace with the car in front of it, almost like a cruise control would. Okay. And the car was driving, and suddenly made an erratic movement and veered away. And the car plowed into the stationary object that was on the other side of the car that was in front of it. Yeah. Self-driving car. Because it couldn't just simply look through the back window of the car in front of it and then out the windshield and see that there was a wall coming up, and that's why the car was swerving. Or seeing the road signs that say, merge right, merge right, merge right,
You're right, but you want to know what's great about that? Literally, you want to know what's
about
great?
Plowing into a wall.
No, this a lot of people don't think about this. So if you're driving and you're learning and you hit something, and you go, okay, I can't do that because when I do that, I run into the Jersey barrier. You know not to do that anymore. Okay, but only you know that. Literally, listen, when one Tesla does a mistake like that, it's hooked up to the same server. So all the cars learn. And all the cars adapt to that.
I know, but
just one car. That's
but how do you learn that, though? How can you teach a computer if it can't actually use its, you know what I mean? So if it's just simply traveling by keeping pace with another vehicle because it's sending waves back and forth and it's saying, okay, I am 12 and a half feet away, 12 and a half feet away, 12 and a half feet away. It starts to get closer and closer and closer. It's like, oh, I need to slow down to keep that pace. You know what I mean? That distance, I should say, for safe stopping distance at 30 miles an hour. I don't know if it's actually 12 and a half feet. It's just a number that I'm throwing out there.
So you're riding his ass. No. It's an aggressive automated car.
Okay, fine. So it's 30 feet away.
What if it like honks and shit too and has like a little voice that says, get the fuck out of the way, asshole.
Whatever, 30 feet. And you're using your, other senses. So you're watching the car in front of you, your peripheral view is seeing the sign that says, merge right, lane closed ahead, Jersey barriers are moving in. It's just showing, the car is just keeping pace with that car in front of it. In your head, you can make that calculation that says, I can read that sign. I can see, the barriers forming ahead on the other side of the car. I should probably move over now. But let's say the car in front of you is just some kid who's texting, whatever, distracted. It's going to follow it. That he realizes that he's about to crash into the barrier, so he swerves. Your car is not going to be able to realize in time that, okay, so the vehicle that I was just following, keeping pace with, is no longer there. Okay. So it's just going to continue to plow straight ahead into the wall.
They don't drive based on people in front of you. It's like a bat. Like when the way a bat moves because they're blind, they're so... And then they hear where things are bouncing off of. And that's kind of how the radar system in that works. So if there's a Jersey barrier, it'll the radar will bounce back, goes, oh, there's something approaching to the left in 15 feet. I need to move.
Or if you're,
They don't drive based on the car in front of it.
Well, no, I'm just saying this was one of the videos that I saw.
Oh, yeah, it happens, yeah.
It's just one of the faults of, autopilot.
Yeah, but the thing is, it'll learn. That's the thing, is all of them learn to not do that.
So how many people are going to lose their lives by a learning computer?
Probably less than the amount of people that drive and lose their lives, if you think about it.
I don't know.
Plus, if things are autonomous, then, drinking and driving is,
I'm not saying there's not benefits.
There's lots of benefits.
I'm still sure that if you're inebriated and you get in your autopilot car and your car gets stopped for whatever reason, they're still going to yell at you for being in a motor vehicle, being the only human person in a vehicle.
But who you get, your car's drunk? Because you're not driving.
Yeah, but
what if your car's swerving? Your car's hammered.
What if you need to take control of it?
It drank too much of that 93 octane gas.
Oh wow, you have a fancy car.
Fancy car. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, for instance, you're driving. Speaking of drunk drivers, you're driving down the road. You're approaching an intersection. Your light's green, but you see some car screaming down the road coming the other way at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah. And
they're getting really close to that light, and you know that they're not going to stop.
They can predict crashes. There's videos of Teslas predicting crashes that are going to happen for other, two different cars, not their car, just cars on the side, and they predict a crash, and they get out of the way because they know it's going to happen. And people are like, what the fuck? Why is my car moving? And then suddenly two cars crash. They can do that too.
Yeah.
So it's getting better. But shit, yeah. I guess that's all. But thanks for coming on, Mason. Episode 16. Don't forget to subscribe and watch the other stuff.
16. That's a lot of
no, 17. This is 17.
Oh, my bad.
Or 16. 17? One of them teens. It's not legal yet, so just know that much. All right. Thanks, Mason.